What are the main reasons someone should make a short film?
Here's the great thing about short filmmaking. I truly believe everybody should make a short film if you want to. I'm not going to force you to make a short film if you weren't interested in making a short film. But there's nothing to stop anybody from making a short film. So if you have something you want to say or make, or maybe you just want to experiment and try to do something, because the experimental is also a really fabulous category of short films. Go for it. Nobody ever regrets having made a short film. And one of the reasons is it's not so financially disabling as making a feature. Feature, you put a lot of money in and a lot of people's expectations, and it really has to deliver. Short film, short time commitment to make, hopefully very, very little money that you put into it. So why not? Go ahead and do it. So I always encourage people to make short films. I think often you'll find out at festivals, the festival people will tell you too, like the people who have the most fun at film festivals are the short filmmakers, because nothing's really riding on it. You know, it's not like there's a lot of investment. You're just there, you've made something you're proud of, and you're like, hello world, here I am, I'm now a filmmaker. And that's the great thing about shorts too. It's that nice bridge from, I'd love to be a filmmaker, to actually being a filmmaker. Fastest way to do that is to make a short film. But having said that, I also don't think you should make it so precious as like, I must have the perfect thing before I can become a short filmmaker. I do think, and this is also what's kind of nice about film school, you can make a lot of small things to kind of experiment and do stuff and find your voice that you don't necessarily need to show the world, right? That it could just be something for you to experiment and to find what you are as a filmmaker, to exercise your filmmaking muscles. It doesn't have to be shared with the world. So quite often I teach, and a lot of my students want to immediately put their film out into the film festival or put it on YouTube. And that's permanent, you know, that sends the world, it's now something in your IMDb page. It's now something that you're showing people to say, represents me as a filmmaker. And if it's not something that really is of quality yet, that it's still just a learning experience, because I always say shorts are a learning experience for everyone. If it is truly a learning experience, you can just say, that was it, I made it, and I learned a lot from it, but now I'm ready to do my more ready for the world short film. So, you know, everybody can make a short film. I would always encourage everyone to make a short film. I don't necessarily encourage everyone that everything you make is so perfect that, you know, your mom's gonna love them all, obviously, and your best friend will love it, and the people who are in it will love it, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the world has to see everything you've made. You should be a little cautious about what you send out into the world.
Well, that's a great point. How does someone know, though? Because sometimes we all think everything we do is amazing, or we have the flip side of that problem, but...
Yeah, that's true. Some people do have the flip side, but they're super critical. And it's like, well, how do you know that it's not great until you actually show it to people? So, you know, one thing I do like is doing private screenings where like you and your friends, you can get like 5 friends, all of whom made something, show it at home. People now have beautiful TVs, you know, invite people to your apartment, you know, make popcorn, have a private screening, like a cast and crew screening. And that's a great way, especially if you show more than one film, to see how it plays with people who are obviously on your side. But if you have a bunch of different cast and crews, there are strangers there who, you know, aren't related to you, and see how it plays, see what people do. People do test screenings of features all the time, so do a test screening of your short and see what happens. However, I will say, you know, it used to be in the world of like, if you build it, they will come. Like, put it up on YouTube. People will discover it. And all of a sudden, you'll be on Jimmy Fallon talking about your short film that made your whole difference. There's so many things going up on YouTube now. There's so many things that are out there. You can't count on, like, if you build it, they will come. It really has to be a concentrated effort to get people to see your film. So if you're worried about it, you know, do that kind of test screening. If you do want to send it out into the world, then, you know, that's what festivals are for. Now, some people's shorts are not festival quality shorts. And I will also say, I know so many filmmakers who like apply to all these festivals and don't get in, and they're like, my film must really suck. It's not getting into anything. And then finally it breaks for them. They get into one film festival, and then they get into another and get into another. So, you know, number one, your film just might not be a festival kind of film, and that's totally fine. But also it may just be that, you know, again, 10,000 people made short films that were submitted to Sundance. So don't think that, you know, because you're one of the 10,000 and you're not getting in, it's because you personally suck. I've been on a lot of short film juries and, you know, at festivals, and I always want to tell people that we're like like we gave the big prize to film number A, but film number B we debated forever about, and we all really liked it, just didn't get the prize. And you always want to say, I wish the filmmaker knew that, you know, how much we loved their film and talked about their film, and even though they didn't actually get the prize, you know, they should be very, very proud of that. But you don't hear that. All you hear is film number A won and I didn't win anything. So, you know, you could honestly be film number B, where you've got so much potential, it just didn't happen for you at that time.
Do you advise filmmakers to make a short film from their screenplay, such as like filming a sequence from maybe the first page?
So a lot of people do that they have a screenplay and there's no, like, they can't get people to look at their screenplay. That's like the hardest thing, right? To break into Hollywood and get people to look at their screenplay. So people say to them, well, maybe you should shoot a little bit of the film and of the screenplay, and then people can see that and see the potential of what this thing could be. So quite often those are like proof of concept shorts that you take either a little scene or you maybe take one of the characters from it and film something different with that character, just to show, though, that that character has a lot of potential and could be interesting. The hard part is sometimes those don't hold up on their own. Like that little scene doesn't really work as a film. It works to kind of show what the screenplay could be. But on the other hand, if you want to make your film for like $100 million, you're not going to be able to invest that much in a little teeny bit of a short film. So that doesn't give you that, grandeur that you would get when they actually make the feature. But it's totally legitimate to make a proof of concept, and then you you show people that bit and they say, now I understand what the feature could be. A lot of features are execution dependent, where people just can't see what it would potentially be. So if you put together a little something, you're like, now you can see what it could potentially be. So it's worthwhile doing that. It doesn't necessarily mean that's a festival short. It really might be just truly a proof of concept for that feature script, and that's all it is. Conversely, a lot of people have made short films that got a lot of attention, and then people are like, there's a feature in there. And then they've written the feature around the short film. So Whiplash is actually one of the most famous ones that it was a feature script first. He couldn't get any attention for it. So he took an actual scene from it. And it's on the internet. I think it's on the Blu-ray or the DVD. It's pretty easy to find, of that scene. And he had J.K. Simmons as the music instructor, but a different kid, not Miles Teller, as the drummer. And so he shot an actual scene from it. And that short film, also called Whiplash, got into the Sundance Film Festival, won an award, and then everybody's like, well, and it was like, well, here's the feature script. So that gave him a lot of momentum by showing people what it could be.
But just to play the devil's advocate for a moment, I think, wouldn't there be a little bit of a danger in just shooting one page, because there wouldn't be an arc to the story?
It wasn't just one page, it was one scene. So, yeah, exactly. You need to have a beginning, middle, and end. And that's why sometimes people don't do something exactly from the script. They take something out of it and carefully construct it as a short film. And those are more successful because people have the experience doing it. Also, people have done like little trailers. So recently, the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air TV show got remade as just Bel-Air. And how it happened was the filmmaker thought, I could do this kind of gritty version of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air now. And he made like a little trailer for that, just for fun, because he thought it was like a good concept of like, let's show the real Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And based on that, they were able to develop a TV series. So it does work quite often that you can show something and then people see what it could be, and then bigger pieces happen. Actually, right now, too, there's two films that are out right now. One film called Emergency, feature film on Amazon Prime. That was a short film that did very well on the festival circuit. And then people said to them, this could be a feature. And they're like, yes, let's make the feature. And then Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, that's now a feature film, too. And that was a short film originally.
Do most filmmakers realize their short film is a calling card or almost an online resume?
See, I agree with you that I think that's short films, no matter what, are an online resume, and not necessarily a calling card of what you want to do for the future, but a calling card of you as a filmmaker. And that's what they should be. This is your chance to do whatever you want to do that shows your voice. Like, this is who I am, this is what I want to do. So I know filmmakers who, for example, have made comedy shorts. They got a lot of success and they were able to get an agent off of it, and they got meetings with people in Hollywood, and everyone was like, here's a comedy we'd love you to do. And they're like, well, really what I want to do is drama. It's like, well, everybody got excited because you could show them your comedy. On a similar note, I know a filmmaker who did a short film with a dog, and it was just happened to be that there's a dog in the story, but then he got offered all these dog features, and he was like, I'm not a dog filmmaker, but that's what people can see. They're like, oh, he works well with the dog. We happen to have a dog script. We're looking for a dog director. Here we go. So you have to be a little careful that knowing, if you want to make horror films, you should think about what your future holds. So if you want to make horror films, then you should do a horror short. You can do a comedy horror short or something like that, but you should think about where you want to go. If you want to be a documentary filmmaker, I think doing a narrative short doesn't really help you in any way. If you want to, make really slick kind of things in the future, you should make slick things as your short film. But it also should reflect who you are too. So like, for example, if you're a comedian or something like that, nobody's expecting you to make a drama, heart-rending drama film and then, have you say, but what I really, this is who I really am. It's like, well, no, we always knew you were a comedian. This is weird that you want to do these dramas. So you have to think about who you were, where you're going, and make something that is true expression of you.
So then don't necessarily make something just to get in a festival. Try to establish your style and what you want to do and not just do it for trends.
Well, people always ask, for example, the programmers at the Sundance Film Festival, it's like, what is a Sundance short? As if you could do if you tell me it's A, B, and C, and I do A, B, and C, then I'll get into Sundance, right? And they always say, no, we put together this whole group of different things to put together the film festival. And so there is no specific, this is what we want. So you can't just say a crazy clown film won last year, so if I do a crazy clown film, then I'll win this year. Or that's what they love. They love crazy clown films, so I'll definitely get in if that's what I do. Really what people are looking for is something unique and special and moving and heartfelt and, audience pleasing, and they want to feel like there's some talent there, and they're going to nurture this talent and expose this talent to the world. So there isn't like a formula that says this is what will be successful. And some people make a great short film and then make another short film and it fails terribly, depending on what you consider failing. It doesn't get reactions from people, or people don't think it's as good as their first film. Then they make a third film and people are like, still not so great, or it's amazing. So there's no rules about what makes a good short film or what you should make. There's no definition of what's a failure too. And quite often filmmakers will tell you they had to make certain things before they were ready to make their next film. So those little bits of what some people might consider a failure weren't a failure at all. It was a learning step for them so that they could get up to the next step. So, that's the great thing about short films. There's really no failure. It's as long as you're making stuff and you feel like you got something out of it and it was worthwhile and you developed your muscles as a filmmaker, then you should consider it a success.